Hello water managers and SWMS users. My name is Oskar Hurst and I'm here with the Water Management and Systems Division here at HEC, the Hydrologic Engineering Center. Welcome back to our second lecture on SWMS graphics and scripting. For this lecture we're going to be talking about customizing plots. Now, first we're going to look at how we can rearrange the viewports in our plot window. So in order to do this, inside of our plot window, we're going to go ahead and select the edit option and then the drop down for configure plot layout. So when we do this, it's going to then open up the configure plot window as shown below. So in the configure plot window, we can see here that we have the viewports, and the children of the viewports are our axes, and each of our axes as one of its children are a curve. So every axis needs a curve and every viewport needs an axis. So let's say we want to rearrange this or change some of the sizing within our viewports. In order to do this, as well as adding and removing viewports, we want to go ahead and add a viewport. Within that configure plot window we opened up, we're going to select the edit button and then the add viewport option. As well as if we have a viewport selected, we can click the remove viewport. If we want to change the relative sizings of viewport, so whether or not we want each of the two viewports to be 50-50, or we want one viewport to be 70-30, we can then select the set viewport weights option underneath that edit button, where we can change the weight percentages. But we just have to make sure that these weight percentages, they have to be add up to 100%. If we want to change the ordering, so put one viewport on top of another, or put one curve on top of another, or switch the axes, in order to do this, what we have to do is select the viewport and then select the up arrow or the down arrow that's on the right hand side of the configure plot window. Now, same thing for managing our y-axes, adding and removing. We're going to go ahead and click that edit button and then select the add axis, or if we have an axis selected, we can click the remove axis button. As for moving them around, we also are going to use those same up and down arrows. So as long as we have one of the y-axis clicked and highlighted in blue, we can then move it up and down. And let's say that we want to reverse one of our axes, so have it go from ascending order of our units to descending. We're going to just right click on that axis and then select the reverse button. So now let's look at our ability to add callout and marker lines. So in order to add a callout, all we have to do is go ahead and just right click on the curve. So we have to make sure that we're right clicking on the line itself, exactly where we want the callout to be placed. And then when we right click on the curve, it should pull out a drop down menu with the title of the curve that we're editing, as well as with the option add callout. And then once you add the callout, it's going to automatically add the callout to your curve. And unfortunately you cannot replace it, but you can delete it by right clicking the callout and then trying again and putting it in a new location. Now for marker lines, it's the same principle, but this time we need to make sure to click anywhere in our viewport that is not the line. So anywhere on our viewport that does not have a curve on it, we can go ahead and right click that, and from there we're going to see the add marker option. And in the add marker option, we can select either the y-axis or the x-axis. So this is saying whether or not we want our marker line to be on the x-axis or y-axis, and then from there, at the point that you clicked, it'll go ahead and add that marker line. For marker lines, you can go in and type in a specific x or y value that you want the marker line to exist at. Now here's an example of our custom plot with the added marker lines and callouts. Now let's say that we want to further customize our plot by adding in a new title or by changing up our legend panel a little bit. In order to do this, all we have to do is right-click in either the title area of the plot or the legend area. The title area is the area that's above our topmost viewport and below our options in the top of the plot window. So in either of these areas, when you right-click them, you're going to see similar drop-downs pop down, one labeled title, the other labeled legend panel, and each have the edit properties option. So when you select edit properties in each of those areas, they're going to bring up their corresponding windows. So on the left, we can see the edit title properties window, which will appear if you click edit properties for the title, and also vice versa, we have then the legend properties window, which within each of these windows, we can see all the different customizations that we can make to our title, including what font and text we want the title to be, its color, its size, its weight, whether or not it's centered, as well as all of our border information. Now here is a final example with all of our added title, custom legend, markers, and callouts. Now, if you don't want to go and select each of the properties separated, we can look at all the properties together in one place by selecting the plot properties option underneath the editing button in our plot window. So by selecting this properties button, it's going to bring up this properties window that has everything in it: the curve properties, the viewport properties, title, axis, legend, marker, lines. It has that all within there and lets you fully customize your plot however you want. Now these edits will only apply to the plot that is open right now. It won't change any other plots within SWMS. If we want to do that, we have to work with templates. So templates are a way that we can create a standalone plot properties object that we can apply to any of our different graphs. You can do this by saving a template, and then when you go into your plot properties, applying that template to your plot. Now, let's say we wanted to apply templates in our time series icons that we were talking about in our first part of our lecture. So that every time that we right-click on a time series icon, it'll always display a plot in the way that's dictated from the templates. So now if we go and we open up the map layers window, which we can find by clicking on the maps option at the top of the cavi, we're going to see the maps layer window. So within the maps layer window, we can then go right click any of the layers that are underneath our time series icon object that exists in this folder structure labeled map layers. And so from here, all you have to do is select the properties option, which will bring up another time series icons properties window. From there, you can select the templates option, and you can then browse any of the other templates that you've previously created and apply them to the time series icon. Now, what if you don't want to just use templates for specific time series icons that you click and want to open up in view? What if we want to have a default for any time that we open up a plot anywhere? This is where the default plot properties come in. Now, these default plot properties can be exported as zip files and then re-imported on another machine, so they're easily shareable, as well as you can save current ones if you're worried about messing up another user's default properties. Now, be reminded that these default plot properties will only be applied to new plots you open that don't have a template, as well as so the changes that you make in the default properties won't change plots that you already have open. Now, in order to change these default plot properties, all we have to do is within our plot window, so one of the windows that open up, when you click the edit button, you're going to see the default plot properties option. And this is going to bring up the default plot properties window. And so this default plot properties window looks extremely similar to the regular plot properties window when you're just editing that singular plot. So you can make all the changes within the default plot properties and then export it or save it or apply it to your current CAVI instance. So if someone else sent you a default plot properties zipped file, you can import that by selecting the import button and loading in that default plot properties. Now, with the default plots, you don't know how many curves a plot might have. You know, one plot might have just a singular curve, another plot might have 8 curves. So you want to tell the default a way to handle all these different amount of curves. And this is where our default line styles come in. So line styles are organize all our curves in 3 main ways, based off their parameter, or their data type, or the order. So whether or not it's the first curve, the second curve, the third curve, and so forth. So in order to edit these default line properties, the same as editing the default plot properties, we're going to select the default line styles button. So this default line styles will bring up the default line styles view, which we can see in front of us, where we can edit, where we can say if a certain parameter, such as elevation, is being displayed, that we want to have a certain color and fill. If it's a certain type, we can modify that. If it's in a certain order, we can tell it to be a certain value and then give it priority based off those different options. So all of our styles, they're saved within the file that's located at the bottom of the default line styles options. So here we can see that this file is being stored at C users H3ECX-LAA/default line styles.config file. So that's where the line styles are saved. So if you want to save that or move that around, you have to save that file. Now, in our next lecture, we're going to be talking about the uses for scripting within the CAVI and how scripting is related to plotting. If you have any other questions or need help or additional training, feel free to look at our other resources and follow these links. And always feel free to ask any questions to us here at HEC. Thank you so much and see you next time.